What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode on the Inside the Mind podcast. Join with me a familiar face that you would have seen before. Serhat, welcome. How are you?
Very good, Mark. Thank you very much for having me on.
No, you're very welcome. I thought it would be a great opportunity to have you in person, especially with the end of year event tomorrow, which I'm sure you're excited about.
Very excited.
I'm keen to now dig into your story because it's been a bit of time since when you jumped on the podcast. Of course, it's over Zoom. It's very different in person. As to how you were. For those of you that haven't seen the episode before, if you used to just give them a couple of minutes where you're at in your journey, how long you've been trading, etc., and just where you started.
Sure. So I've been trading for about 3 to 4 years. I joined Falcon in late October 2019, which kind of coincides with the end of year event that you guys had back in 2019, a Christmas party, which was something that I was a bit apprehensive of attending. And now obviously we've got the end of year tomorrow. So really excited that I can finally attend an end of year Falcon event. So I'm really gassed and excited for that. Currently, I've gone full time in my trading journey. So I've quit my job and I've passed the Falcon FFX fund, the assessment, and now I'm a portfolio asset manager. So I'm grateful to be in this position. I understand it's just the beginning, it's just the start of the journey, and I've got a lot of milestones ahead of me. But yeah, just grateful to be in this position and excited.
Incredible, honestly. Speaking of that event, so 2019, so for those that don't know, that was the London meetup that you attended. How long was you in Falcon when you come to that meetup?
So that I was probably in Falcon for 3 months, so I didn't have the courage or the confidence to go to the Christmas. But then Falcon early, if it's January 2020, we had an in-person meetup. I came to that one, and it was there where I put myself forward and shared my goals with everyone there. And it's been 3 years since then, and I've finally achieved that goal of being a full-time trader. So it's been a long time. So
because you put yourself forward, didn't you? Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I said I wanted to be a full-time trader by the end of the year 2020.
Was there anything that pushed you? Like what talk us through that moment of thought? Did you just think, I've got to say this, I've just got to push myself out there?
Yeah, I felt like, when we had the Q&A and the sort of like roundtable, and you guys asked like, does anyone want to share their goals? And I was so determined, and I knew what I wanted, and that was to be a full-time trader and be consistently profitable. So I just wanted to just put that out there, put myself out there, and just get it off my chest. So it's out in the open now. Like,
put it out in the ether.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it interesting how the universe has a funny way of just moving out of your way when you just say what you want? Exactly. Like asking, you shall receive. People misinterpret that a lot, but it's like in your mind, you're asking internally to just, right now I'm going to behave in accordance to whatever that goal is. Now you're a portfolio asset manager. You said you went full time recently. Yep. Talk us through quitting your job. How did that feel? Because that, for most people, that's like a big goal.
Yeah, I mean, it was surreal. So it didn't really kick in straight away. It took a bit of time, and there'll be moments where I'll be leaving the gym and I just get in my car and I just sit and think, like, I'm full time now. Like this is my life now, and I just have the biggest grin on my face, and then I just head home and just feel really good about the position I'm in. So it's an amazing feeling, and it was well worth the journey to get here.
100%. And for you to be in that position, because you just literally reminded me of those same feelings. You just catch yourself sometimes just smiling, thinking, I done it. Like, I done what I said I was going to do. How have you found managing that time of freedom? Because for most people, going from used to a 9-to-5 job, used to order and structure, I would say, to then have almost no responsibility apart from your own trading, that's not easy. For most people would think, I'd love to be in that position. They don't realize there's so many things, like no one's over your shoulder. Like, I'm not there saying, Serhat, wake up at this time, and no one's telling you to do that. So how have you found that?
So on the run up to being able to quit my job, obviously I knew certain areas that I would need to like work on. And one of them was discipline. So I knew I had to be disciplined and able to wake up, have a routine, and carry out that routine in order to carry out my daily processes. For example, one routine that I decided to do was wake up at 5 a.m. I would get up, make my bed, do stretches for 5 minutes, take a shower, and then do like my visualizations. And then that would unlock me to then sit at my desk and then start my morning forecast, for example. So without completing that routine, it wouldn't warrant me to sit down and look at the charts.
Right.
So they're the kind of like disciplines I installed. But in order to push my discipline even further, because I had time on my hands, I just knew like discipline is putting yourself through something that you don't necessarily want to go through, and it's going to make you a tougher person and a harder person. So I would do things like wake up early and go to a HIIT class in the morning. Like I'm dreading it, but I go, you don't know what you're going to do, and then you're just thrown with all these exercises, you don't know what's going on. And then it's the mental battle and it's the physical battle. But then once you do that and you finish the class, you're just so excited and so like energized, and you're like, yes, I've done it. And then it took me like a week or 2 weeks doing that consistently, and then like my routine was spot on. I was waking up at 5, feeling good, energetic and going about my day.
That's amazing, because the mind's always trying to make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Have you started to fall in love with that idea of that extra discipline? So those moments you almost get, it's a weird thing to explain, almost a little bit excited at the same time, but you're dreading it. So your mind's telling you, I'd rather be in bed, I don't want to do this. But then you're excited at the thought of, I'm going to build another bit of discipline. Are you having those kind of conscious thoughts that's like getting you through it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I have moments where, I'll wake up feeling a bit groggy, or like my body's aching from working out. And I've booked the class because the gym I go to, you sort of book in the class. And then I was like, no, I'm going to go and do it. And then just overcoming that thought pattern in your head of, I can't be asked or I can't be bothered. And then you go, you do it with conviction. It just adds a new level to your discipline, and just makes you feel more confident in yourself. And I think it's very important and so transferable to your trading journey when you instill that discipline, especially like, for example, following your trading plan, or if you set out to not take high risk positions, but then sometimes you could lose that discipline in a moment where you see a trade and then, your head starts going, could this be a 15% trade or not? And it's just that discipline you build by doing other things to make that stronger, and it's transferable to your trading. So you stay disciplined with that.
Isn't it so interesting that if you don't work on yourself, it's very difficult for you to perform in trading? Like when you first got into trading, right? You've been around trading for a period of time now. What was your first image? I'm just curious from that. What was being sold in the industry at that time? Was it get rich quick, or was it, talk us through that?
I mean, so my journey into trading was quite interesting because I always wanted to, go and work for like a big IB investment bank in the city, Canary Wharf. Like I would dream of that. Like, so when I went uni, I had this massive picture that I created of like Canary Wharf. So when I'm at my desk, I can see that. And when I graduated and I was applying for jobs, etc., I quickly found out that the qualifications I have, the sort of experience I have is not going to get me to where I want to be. So then it was a matter of like, you know what, like I don't need to go and work for a big IB bank. I can do this myself. I can trade my own money. And that was like part of my why as to why I wanted to get involved and do trading as a career and as a life journey. So I was always keen to be at the center of what's going on in the global economy. So that captivated me towards that. But then it was the sort of failures I had in getting to where I want to be in like a career, which then led me to do this on my own as a retail trader, essentially.
Yeah, nice. So you always had an interest for like finance, banks.
Yeah.
So you knew you wanted to go in that direction.
Yeah.
You just realized, right, I could actually do this myself and have my own. Was it more so, did you want to do it for yourself? Was it time that was important to you in terms of like just having that freedom of your own schedule? Because for some people, it might be appealing to, the hustle and bustle. They like the idea of the Wolf of Wall Street type environment. But for some people, they just don't want that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, certainly there was a bit of that, like the hustle and bustle going into the city. And, I remember like I got a internship at Deutsche Bank in Turkey, which I spent 6 months living at my sister's. At the time she was living in Turkey. And every day I would travel 2.5 hours, public transport in Turkey, which is not great. 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours, and I would get into the office for like 6 and then leave at 7. And I was not fazed one bit. Like I would do that journey, and it was that drive and that motivation of being there and, being around like really intelligent guys that are just analyzing stocks and equities and stuff. I was very captivated by that. But then I was always interested in like trading and, being involved in markets, etc. So that kind of like drove me towards that. And then again, once I realized like it was difficult to get into in terms of like the labor market, that's when I just decided I want to do this myself, however long it takes. Like I'm committed, I want to do this. Like even now, when I think about where I am and some of the recent struggles I've been through in terms of like my PAM account, like I've just come to this, like the fear of losing it is what kind of makes you go astray. So once you accept, like, I'm going to do this no matter what. Like, if it takes me 5 years, it takes me 5 years. If it takes me 10 years, obviously I don't think it will take me 10 years. But once you eradicate the illusion of time in your journey, then everything will fall into place. And at the moment, and similar to when I first got the assessment fund, I lost it straight away because I let my ego get the better of me. I thought I made it as a trader. You know, now I'm funded. Look at me, sort of thing. Discipline went out the window. Lost the account. It was a great learning curve, you know. And then the second time round, I fixed what was wrong. Went again, and you know, I managed to pass it. And now I'm on the portfolio asset manager account. And now I've had moments where, again, the larger capital maybe is getting to my head a bit. So I'm taking trades which I shouldn't be. But it's like, you got to understand that you have to go through that to be able to, it's like a bow and arrow, right? You pull it back to go further. So like, I use that as fuel, and then I remove that idea of I need to scale up within the next 2 months or pass it, etc. And just focus on what I need to do day in, day out, take good quality trades, and yeah, just focus on what I can control and just leave what I can't control, because we can't control when we're gonna, you know, get to $1 million account.
Some people think they can.
Some people do.
Well, that's the thing, and I'm glad you've removed that, because all it is a different terrain. It's a new environment. So you going from passing a funded account to, right, your mind can get ahead of yourself quite easily. And I think it normally comes from the untapped potential. It's because you know in the back of your mind, you're not oblivious to the fact that with a certain amount of percentage, your mind's probably worked it out. We all do the maths. Like, right, if I make this, I'm now trading $1 million.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. You're ambitious. It's just the time frame of when your mind thinks that has to happen now is what just messes everything up. But I'm glad that you've accepted that, look, I don't care how long it takes me. It's going to happen for me.
Yeah.
Like if you was to look at the trader you were 2 years ago, night and day difference.
Absolutely.
Like you actually are a trader now. Like you've proven that to yourself. You've done it. So whatever happens to you, it's very, very small little increments that you need to improve on, that you're just going to be the competent, successful trader that you already are, and just improved version of that, which is, it must be a great feeling, surely.
Yeah.
You knowing that like only a small percentage of people actually break through. How does that feel for you?
Yeah, it feels good. I try not let it get to my head too much. And funnily enough, sometimes I do get into feelings of like self-doubt, like, did I fluke it? Did I not? And obviously, like, one thing I need to add is, especially like with my journey, like I know I'm in a great community. I'm in good hands. I've got a great coach who pushes me, has belief in me, and all these things. Like, because I know I've got that, I'm confident in my ability to move forward and hit some of those goals I have over next year and towards the end of this year. So I'm confident, and sometimes I think, you know, it's taken me 3 years, but it doesn't faze me. Like, I don't think, oh, I could have done it in 1 year. Like, I'm here now. Like, the past is the past.
That's what's interesting. I always say it to people, and for yourself as well, there's no way that you sit there and think it took me 3 years. You just don't care anymore, does you?
No.
Right? So it's like when you said it to someone, though, when they first start, they could see that and go, 3 years, just not for me. Like, that seems ages. But 3 years is going to pass anyway.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, it could have taken you 7. And even at 7 years, if you're then trading 200, 300K, you're not going to care. You're just going to be like, oh, it took me 7 years. Seems like a long period of time, but I'm now making 30 grand a month. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know, so it's that mentality that you've adopted, which is incredible. Talk to me about, you've been in the community. You've seen the evolution of that over a period of years. Does that give you more power, more strength, knowing that you're around other people? Like I'm always curious everybody else's perception on what that's actually like, because most people, they don't have a community, or they're just looking from the outside. Have you found that being around other traders, that's helped either keep you accountable? Have you seen people that's maybe inspired you to work harder when you seen them work harder? What's that kind of been like for you since you've seen the evolution of the community?
Yeah, I mean, it's been fantastic. Like just to add, when I first joined Falcon, I always kind of knew that there's a formula in place that works. And I would listen to like a lot of the Inside the Mind podcasts from like years ago, where you interview traders that go full time. So like when I listen to that, I think, okay, cool. Like people are going full time, so like the formula works. So there's no reason for me to not go full time as long as I'm committed and dedicated, and I take my time, enjoy the journey. Um, that's one thing. The other thing, obviously, being in a community definitely helps. Like a lot of my close friends, they don't understand trading. I can't talk to them about trading. They just think trading is an easy way to make money, which is what social media may portray it to be. So being in a community with like-minded people, people that are further ahead in their journey than you are, and then people that are just beginning their journey, it's really great, because like one principle that I like about Falcon is the energy you get, you always want to give it back, because like I know Mark, you and everyone behind Falcon FX go above and beyond consistently for years. Like you can watch, a live webinar that you did 3 years ago. It's the same energy. What's changed now is obviously you have the pathway to being funded, right? So when I joined, I never had that. So in my head, I was thinking I'll save up maybe 20K and start trading that. So now it's like, okay, we've got the pathway here laid out. So everything's laid out for us. We don't need to save 20K now. We can trade funded capital and scale up to 1 million. That's incredible. So I'm sure that really like pushes a lot of people and gets them motivated and more committed. And just going back to like being in the community and helping, like I always enjoy helping other people, especially like with my journey where I've faced barriers, like jumping on calls with people, giving them like 1% tweaks that I've used, that I've found very helpful. It's really nice to give back.
I'm curious, what makes you want to do that? Because I've always noticed that about you as well.
Yeah.
Like unprompted, you've just done that.
Is
that been within your nature growing up, or
like,
is it?
I'm someone who likes to help. Like I like to help a lot of people, and I understand going through this journey it can be lonely, and obviously I've been through a lot of pitfalls, a lot of demons, and like negative self-talk. So I know sometimes it's just as easy as having someone to talk to and get those things off your chest for you to like overcome them. Something so simple that you can just jump on a call with someone, 30 minutes, you have a talk, and then all of a sudden, like a week later, that person's, like, you really helped my journey. Thank you so much. It's just like an amazing feeling to be able to give back and help other people on their journey.
I think some people just don't understand that. They don't get, because listen, if you say to someone logically, do you enjoy helping people? What psycho is going to say no? Of course you do. However, but it's that when it's within your nature and you understand that you're not giving with the action to receive, you're just giving because you just want to help.
Yeah.
You just literally just want to help because you know it's going to come back for you tenfold in different ways, and sometimes ways in which that we don't really understand. And I think that is what I love about Falcon. When I first created this project, I didn't know who I was going to attract. All I knew is that these are the values, this is the right message. The message isn't always the most attractive message, but I know it's going to work. Because we've seen the industry, which I'd love your opinion on this and what you've seen. Psychology is something that everyone knows that they need to focus on, yet they don't. Having gone through the journey that you've gone through, was there a point, did you realize psychology was important at the start? Was that really a message that was pushed, like, right, I really need to work on my mindset? Or was you just thinking, I just need to learn how to trade?
At the beginning, it was more so like technical, get your technicals right, like know what you're doing, have a good trading plan, gain confidence in your edge. And then it's like once you tick all of those things off and you stick to it, and then you start to realize, okay, I'm not hitting consistency. So then you start to question, and then some people might question, is it the strategy? Some people might question, is it me? Like, what do I have to do? So I'm a big believer in manifestations, visualization. I've read books on it, and obviously I've joined Rewired and gone through the modules as well. And like when it comes to psychology, you need a manual like Rewired to train your subconscious mind to rewire the way you think. Because when you come into trading, you come in with certain expectations, right? You think you're going to make money overnight, or you think it's a quick get rich quick scheme because you see people that have spent years studying, going on their journey, they can make a large amount of money very easy. So you think that's what I want to do, and very early on in your journey, you realize that that's not the case. And some people quit, and some people say, right, I'm committed. So what do I need to do now? So I think Rewired has definitely like helped me, especially like self-image, especially now where I'm full-time. So
I was going to say, is there any modules that stick out to you that you would value more in Rewired?
Yeah, so module 5, which is the self-image correction. So essentially you can redesign the way you see yourself, and obviously you wanna sort of like cater that to one of a successful trader. And you know, it's not just always about trading, right? You can also apply it to like other areas of your life. You know, when you go through the module, there's a specific exercise where it tackles all aspects of life. So family, health, you know, physical, etc., your network. And yeah, it's like really powerful when you create this new image of yourself, and then you write it out, and you journal the kind of person you want to become. And the art of that is doing it consistently, because it takes time for your neuropaths to really register that in, and to on a subconscious level to live that day in, day out.
Of course, like a habit, right? You have to affirm it. But would you attribute a lot of your success from doing things like that? Actually, you said you're big on visualization and manifestation. Did you find yourselves in times of we have that negative self-talk that you spoke about, you would use things like error thought, for example, to just, because it all happens. It doesn't matter how successful you are, you can still have a negative thought. Yeah. It's just how you respond to it. How do you find you respond to situations like that now?
Yeah, so it's made me more aware of like the negative thoughts you can have. And, you know, before I like a negative thought would come and I'll just let it harbor, like sit in my mind, and it would just like put me in a very bad negative state. Whereas now it's like you get these negative thoughts, you know, you might take a losing trade and, you know, you're happy with the execution. But then it's like this negative, you start saying, you know, am I really going to make it? Like, am I going to do this?
That little voice.
Yeah. And then you just pause there, you say like error thought, you observe the thought and just let it go. And then because I do my visualizations consistently, I'm always like going back to that and just where I see myself. And of course, like anyone that's watched the last podcast where I passed the fund, like visualizations was a big part of that. And a lot of people that I jump on a call with, I explain to them how I use visualizations and some of the like little tweaks that they're actually quite surprised because they've never like thought of it like that. So what I do say to them, and anyone watching can, you know, take this 1% tweak. So like when you visualize, obviously you visualize your future self, where you see yourself. So what I've used visualizations for as well, when I'm visualizing, I'll visualize myself maybe like having a 20% month or, you know, withdrawing 30K. Like I visualize it. So I live that moment. So when it happens, I'm not surprised and, you know, go down a self-sabotage because I've lived that and I've experienced that. I've experienced the feelings. Same with like a losing streak, right? So you can go on a 9-trade losing streak. Like on that 9th trade, you take a loss. How are you feeling? You can like visualize that, experience the emotions, how you're feeling, and you can like rewire that part of your mind essentially. So when you do experience it, you've experienced it, because our brains don't know the difference between a real life experience and like a imagination, right?
Exactly.
So that's the sort of tweak like I give people, and like a lot of people have gone on to use it and they've found it very successful.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that's a big part. Do you know what I noticed with a lot of successful traders? They all have something in common, and they all seem to value self-image and visualization to the highest degree.
Yeah.
And it's because if you don't feel worthy, what's the point? And that's why you could literally have someone with the most limited amount of knowledge. Like now being in this industry for this amount of time, 15 years, I've observed, so I'm sure you've heard of so many different strategies. Yeah. It doesn't matter what strategy you've got. You could literally, someone could be, call it an ex-business person who's got great discipline, like a really successful business person. They could come into trading and just know real bare basics and just perform. And then someone who knows everything could look at that and go, yeah, but he doesn't know this, he doesn't know that. How is he making that sort of money? And that person doesn't know anything else. And they might get caught out here and there from like too much limited knowledge. However, they'll still make more than someone who knows absolutely everything, that's got a poor self-image, lack of self-worth, doesn't believe in themselves, talks to themselves negatively, has a poor inner circle. It's like, if you don't fix these things, it's just interesting to just see that even after 15 years, nothing has changed.
Yeah.
That it's the same patterns, same behavior. And what most people think is, and I mean, we're all guilty of it to an extent. We think our problems are unique. We think, oh no, it's my problem.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm going through a unique scenario. The reality is traders are just going through a bracket of struggles. And once you overcome those struggles, you tend to then just break through and just become successful, as you have now. And you're still going through things, but you're affirming it to yourself. You feel right at home. You feel worthy of it. And like you say, when you bank that first, say, 100K month, right, your mind's already conditioned that when it happens, you don't go into like, I've cracked the code.
Yeah.
Because that's when it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Like when you because sometimes you can catch the right trade in the right moment and it just runs.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, that trade might have been, like, say, a 5 or 6%. It might run for 25. And when you see that 100K in your account, your mind's going to go, I know everything now.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. It's crazy how it does that to you. You've got to manage that.
And the beautiful thing about it works, you know, like just to give you a quick example, there was a recent, I think 2 weeks ago, a dollar CAD position. And I was taken out by the spreads and it went on to bank like 15%.
The one from the top?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where I've manifested, like, see myself banking 15, 20% returns a month, for example, like that didn't faze me. Maybe a little bit, but I was happy. I just conditioned myself to be happy, be grateful. I'm in this position. Okay, cool. I got taken out by the spreads, but guess what? I took dollar CAD yesterday and I was kept in by a pip.
Yeah, well, there you go.
You know?
Yeah, honestly, I said it so many times. Like, you just got to, I've just let it happen now. There's been way too many of those scenarios that happens. Like, you stay in, there's been certain scenarios in which that I am convinced I'm not in the trade, to the point that it's so clear that I shouldn't be in the trade that I won't even check it. I'm just like, it's pointless to even check if I'm still in the trade. And I'll just go back in the evening. I'm just going into my phone and I'm just like, how am I still in that trade?
Yeah.
You know, so like I've learned to just accept. Sometimes you'll look at it and think, it was 20 pips away. Right? How did I possibly, at that time, it wasn't around swaps. Why am I spiked out? And then you're on the live chat trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, you've done that. You just have to accept. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
It balances itself out. So I'm kind of fine with that. So no, I'm glad you've gone through that. Event tomorrow.
Yeah.
Everything's leading up to it. You didn't go to the first one because you didn't have the courage. You do now, but you're coming into this one as a new man. Yeah. As a different. But how does that feel?
Yeah, it's really exciting. You know, the buzz around London is just crazy. Like Falcon members just flying in from all over the world, and you know that's another thing that I'm really grateful for. Like Falcon, they truly are a global community. It's not just like we have members in the UK. It's like all over the world, Canada, USA, Australia, you know, South Africa, and like where the project is going and where you see everyone going, it's very special. So I'm really excited to meet people tomorrow that I've spoken to through Discord and stuff. So yeah, really excited and really excited for the after event drinks as well.
Of course,
to hang out and be around you know, like-minded people on a formal and informal scenario. So yeah, I'm really, really excited and grateful.
Honestly, I can't wait for it. And it's going to be moments like this that, again, you've now got that event to look back from. I didn't go, but now I'm here. It's been like 3 years. This is where I'm at. It's going to be the same thing next year.
Yeah.
You'll remember like a podcast like this. We've got Dubai 2023 to look forward to. There's going to be levels that get hit along the way. It's untapped. Like, goals for you for next year, what does that look like? Have you started getting into reflection at this point? Because naturally going into the December period, I mean, it's normal to think about how your year's gone.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, I probably would start to like fall back a bit. It's December, but obviously the mentality is a bit different now. I'm just trying to stay sharp, stay in the flow zone. So probably towards sort of Christmas, Boxing Day, I'll probably start thinking about the year that's just gone past, some of the achievements I've made, you know, areas where I struggled, what I can do to build on that. And then after that, would focus on goals for next year. And definitely one of the goals I want to hit is, you know, 6 figures, which I'm not far from. It's just like a matter of time. And then excited to be, you know, on the virtual fund and obviously the Dubai plans as well. I'm definitely like keen to be involved with that. So yeah, like just excited to to be in this position, and again grateful. And so like some big goals.
Honestly, I'm so pleased and happy for you, because like I said, when I started this project, I didn't know who I would attract, who's going to be involved, who's really going to give it their all, who's going to actually pay attention and just go through the hurdles, go through the tough times, get to the next stage. So to have the infrastructure that we have in the expansion plans, to know the right type of people that just get it, want to be part of it, want to scale up, next year is where you're going to see the most amount of growth. Because just statistically speaking, if I look at the numbers where people's accounts at, it's ready.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't tell you, right, we're going to have 400 seven-figure traders. I wouldn't be able to predict that. I know there's going to be hundreds of six-figure plus traders in the multi-six figures. Whoever pushes through to 7, great. But let's be honest, at the end of the year, if you're trading 700, you're not going to be upset. The same way at 3 years that it took you, you're not upset it took that amount of time. But it's going to be life-changing. And like you said, people, that buzz that you're feeling right now, imagine that in 2023.
Yeah.
So it's just that this has been a breakthrough year by far. Absolutely. Like anyone who's persisted, like think about the people that were at the meetup that you were at. You probably don't even know half of them, or they've either given up or trading or back tested 17 different strategies, and they're still nowhere closer to where their goals are.
Exactly. And funnily enough, yesterday I watched the Christmas party 2019 because I couldn't attend. So I watched it again, and one thing that stood out to me was like, do I want to be someone who's here and then 3 years later I'm not here? Like, I don't see myself as that person. Like, I do see like Falcon as part of my DNA now, because the strategy resonates with me so well, the values Falcon has, and just some of the people that I've met, like definitely lifelong friends, and definitely want to be part of Falcon's future growth as well. So definitely be here for the long run.
Honestly, I can't wait for it. We're going to look back on podcasts like this, and
hold me accountable.
I've scoped out the venue in Dubai. I've already got it. Yeah. So for me, it's just like I'm just waiting for the numbers to keep scaling up and catching up. And I remember saying that 6 months ago, and we've already progressed. So like for me, as you can imagine, just like when myself, Abdu and Ibi, and we're just chatting about the bigger plans, it's like it's so good to see people just commit. Honestly, make the right sacrifices that they need to sacrifice. Don't complain. Right, they're teachable. They're easy to teach because they've got a great attitude like yourself. So thank you for always being a student of the game, helping people in the community, unprompted as well, which I really, really value.
Nice.
It's amazing, honestly.
It's always a pleasure, and I like giving back. Obviously, there's times where I have sort of like just kept myself to myself because I needed to like work on certain things. And obviously now where I'm full time and I have time to give, I'm happy to dedicate some time, to the community, jump on calls with people, etc. So yeah, it's a pleasure.
Well, that speaks volumes. Any last words from anyone out there, whether they're in the Falcon community, in the trading space, for someone who has persisted, made it happen within that 3-year period? Is there anything that you've learned along your journey that you would like to share? Yeah,
I think the most important thing you can do is just remove the deadlines and the expectations you put on yourself. If you're really committed, then no matter how long it takes you, you're committed. You will achieve your goals. Just don't say in 6 months or 1 year. Just enjoy the journey, and just be grateful, and be positive, and just remove your expectation. Just don't put it on a pedestal. Don't say, right, I need to pass this assessment first time.
100%. And I love that. And I think that stuck out to me that you've just earlier. I think that's so key that your mind is like, I'm just making it happen. And when you remove that pressure that you clearly have, it's like, it's happening regardless. I'm just going to move forward. I absolutely love that. Appreciate it, Serhat. Getting ready for tomorrow, which is going to be exciting. Guys and girls, I really hope you enjoyed this episode on the Inside the Mind podcast. This is part 2 of Serhat's podcast that I'm sure you're going to be seeing more in the future. And let us know your number 1 takeaways. I'll catch you in the next episode.